locate low prices or track down that hard-to-find item.
Enjoy the shopping experience or get it out of the way as soon as possible.
Stay away from scams.
And make sure your credit card isn't better traveled online than you are.
On this dollar-wise edition of PC World's Digital Duo.
PC World's Digital Duo is brought to you by...
Looking for a new projector or TV for that big screen experience? Make sure it has DLP technology from Texas Instruments for a sharp picture that won't fade over time. Ask for DLP technology at electronics retailers near you.
PC World's Digital Duo is sponsored in part by BenQ, a global innovator and a $5 billion manufacturer of displays and other digital products that make life more enjoyable. BenQ, because enjoyment matters.
I'm Steve Manis, columnist for PC World and Forbes magazine.
I'm Angela Gunn, columnist for USAtoday.com. So, it's been a good 10 years now since online shopping really took off, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and yet I still know people who resist. My sister's one.
Oh, they're out there. They may look at prices online, but they buy offline. Or you get those folks who only shop at one store online, which is too bad. There's lots of good stuff out there. And the technology has improved. You can shop online with confidence in your safety.
Yeah, I mean, I buy most stuff online now. I hate going to the store and finding they're out of what I'm looking for. And nowadays, you can't get through to salespeople in the brick and mortar stores to find out if they've got the stuff. You can't call in over the phone, and there's often a much better selection online.
So let's look at what you can do to be safe and then move on to the other big problem with online shopping.
Which is?
Stopping.
A lot of shoppers, or would-be shoppers like my sister, are concerned about whether buying online could be hazardous to their credit cards.
You know, besides running up the balance.
That we know is hazardous. But safety is a concern, and it turns out that most of the complaints the FTC receives actually have to do with auction-related fraud.
Well, not just eBay either. All the stuff we're going to tell you here applies to eBay, but that site has some extra issues of its own, and we're going to get to them in a minute.
Okay, but I'm concerned because, as I mentioned at length a few months back, I had my identity stolen, though I still don't know how, and it probably wasn't over the web.
Well, yeah. Now, here's the thing. Databases full of customer info are naturally targets for info thieves. But to be honest, it's that way everywhere, online and offline. And even if you personally never type your credit card or bank info into the computer, I guarantee your bank or credit card company has that information in some computer database somewhere, which means you too can get got.
Now, you can't control what other people do with your data, but you can control what you do. So here are 4 safe shopping tips.
For starters, if you're typing in credit card info, social security numbers, any sensitive data on the web, you want to be typing it in on a secure page.
Now, the easy way to check that is to look in the corner of your browser. Typically, you'll see a lock or maybe a key.
You know, either way, that indicates anything you send from that page will travel encrypted. No one's going to be able to swipe your digits in transit. And please, for heaven's sake, no typing credit card numbers or any of that sensitive stuff into email. Who knows where a message like that could end up?
Yeah. Now, second, make sure you are where you think you are. So-called phishers are out there trying to steal your data by building imitation sites that look just like the real ones you know and trust. Even the site addresses can seem authentic.
And that's phishing as in phishing for your info, bank account numbers, social security numbers. You're getting the drill down. Anything they could use to pretend to be you and get at your money.
Now, these phishers usually send email that looks like it's from your bank or an online business or a service like PayPal.
And they ask you to click a link to preserve your account or update your info, or in the case of the shopping sites, you get a deal of some kind.
Don't do it. If you think the message is legit, type the site's address directly into the web browser. So if they say they're from Wells Fargo, open a browser window and type in wellsfargo.com. Or better yet, pick up the phone and call the bank. They'll probably say, huh? Guess they didn't need that Social Security number.
Not so much, apparently. Now, phishing is serious stuff, and there's a lot of it going around. We've got more information on what it is and how to protect yourself on our website. Go to pcworld.com and click on Digital Duo.
Okay, third point. Before you buy at any site, look around for information about the store's real-world location. A responsible site has offline contact information, though sometimes a phone number can be hard to find.
Yeah, Amazon is really tough that way.
It is.
But they do have excellent issue resolution systems on hand, and they're responsive to email. At the very least, though, you should know where the physical business is actually located.
Yeah, and if you're really not familiar with the store, Google them. Just see if anything untoward turns up.
Oh yeah, and the Better Business Bureau keeps an eye on online businesses as well. Search bbbonline.org for the company name and you can see what you turn up.
Now, what if you buy shoes in your regular size, but when you get them, they just don't fit? Or the sweater looked a beautiful shade of green online, and when it turns up at your door, it's a puce that makes you puke.
Well, that's lovely, which leads us to safe shopping point 4. Check the return policies. A good store has one, or they tell you right up front that some stuff just isn't returnable.
Now, some people shop offline to see how they like the product, then go online for the best price.
Yes on that, but within limits. I have an ethical problem here.
So I guess we actually have 5 rules.
Yes, you don't get to have a bargain at the expense of someone trying to make a living. But if there's no salesperson or if they're not on commission, knock yourself out.
Well, you can't test something like this online.
Yeah, but it took an hour to find parking near the store. It's a pillow. How can you tell it's comfortable unless you've come in?
Online, you order it, you don't like it, you send it back. Online, you get no sense of scale.
Before, after.
Okay, let's take a crack at the auction scene.
Now, to most people, you think online auctions, you think of eBay, which has, because fraud goes both ways, implemented buyer and seller protections.
And in the interests of maintaining what eBay calls a safe and well-lighted marketplace, let's talk about a few eBay-specific security procedures.
In addition to our 4 or 5 points just now, of course.
Now, all this information is online at pcworld.com/digitalduo, so just relax and enjoy.
Yeah. The great thing about regular online shopping, straight up buying from a shop, is that you have these established protections. These days, a credit card charge dispute is a credit card charge dispute.
Yeah, but some people pay for their eBay purchases by check or even money order.
And one guy paid me by cash once, I'm telling you, which is why eBay's got special issues. Here's what you need to know.
First, money orders, also cash, bad idea. If something goes wrong, your money's gone.
And you have fewer methods of appeal if you pay with paper. Now, eBay owns PayPal, which is an effective way of transferring the money quickly and which leaves a record, so to speak. And it has consumer protection mechanisms in case something does go wrong.
Now, PayPal does have a line to your credit card or your bank account, and some people aren't comfortable with that. And the fishers out there just love to pretend to be PayPal.
Do they? You definitely have to beware of any mail that seems to be coming from PayPal. It's just like we said a minute ago, only it goes double for PayPal and eBay. Always, always go to those sites if they seem to have questions for you. Do not follow links in email that purports to be from PayPal or eBay ever.
Yeah. Second, use the tools eBay makes available to resolve conflicts over purchases. eBay has a deal with an outfit called SquareTrade, this negotiation and mediation system that's totally free.
Yeah, SquareTrade.com has an interesting browser add-on for Internet Explorer users which attempts to flag sites that they believe may be fraudulent.
Yeah, and eBay sellers can be certified as SquareTrade Seal members, which lets them put a logo on their auctions, means they've committed to using mediation, and they've let SquareTrade verify their identities up front.
Also, speaking of identity, if you see something you like, take a second to check out the seller's rating. That gives you an idea of how other people feel about dealing with this guy. You click on the number next to their username and you get this great history of what they've done on eBay.
Yeah, and the number also tells you how many people have given feedback, and of course the sellers give feedback on buyers too, which helps keep the system in balance so everybody's held accountable.
Third eBay special point. there's a good option for making big-ticket eBay purchases. And considering that ebaymotors.com is now the most visited car buying site online, this is necessary.
Now, eBay has an arrangement with escrow.com, which, as you might guess, acts as a go-between for online purchases.
So, you buy that car online. Once the terms of the offer are settled, the buyer, you, will pay in a $125 fee, non-refundable, for the service. And sometimes it's more, but that's the fee for a purchase of up to $7,500.
Yeah, and escrow.com contacts the seller and arranges an appointment for their people to give the vehicle a 160-point inspection. Once that's done, the service sends a report to the buyer.
And if everything's on the square, you pay the rest. Or you can cancel the sale if you don't like what the inspector tells you. The service can also handle title transfer and transport for an additional fee.
Now be careful, not all escrow services are legit.
It's too true. If a seller ever pushes you to use a specific service, run. This may well be a scam.
And one last eBay point, especially for car buyers. If you're getting a vehicle, have the seller send you the VIN, the vehicle identification number, and include it as part of the contract. And before you sign, call your local police and have them run the number, or go to Carfax.com and run it there for a detailed report.
Well, that's good policy whenever you're buying a car, but definitely if you're buying online, check that VIN.
Now, eBay's safe shopping info is online at pages.ebay.com/security center. It's a page worth your time, not to mention your money.
You know what I hate about comparison shopping online?
Go.
Knowing when to stop. I wasn't kidding about that.
Yeah, well, it is true. You always feel that if you just look at a couple more sites, you might actually save another half a buck.
Yeah, it's like one more click. But price comparison is something the web does really, really well. And the search sites, as you can imagine, have really been in the thick of it lately.
There are hundreds of these sites. The most famous is probably Google's Frugal.com, and Yahoo's got that less catchy URL, shopping.yahoo.com.
Yeah, but neither's perfect. I mean, the results are okay, but they don't give you much flexibility about sorting through them.
Yeah, and that can be annoying when you want to price vacuum cleaners and you have to wade through a few pages of listings for vacuum cleaner filters. Specialized sites like MySimon and PriceScan give you more control over what you see.
Yeah, now Shopzilla shows you what sort of shipping and tax charges you're in for, which is important. And PriceRunner.com looks both online and off. They have humans who check brick and mortar store prices, and those are updated daily, which is nice.
But one big problem I have with all these sites is that they deliver a lot of results from vendors you've never heard of. They may be rated by some third party, but I've seen way too many no-star stores with 5-star ratings. It's just not worth saving that 50 cents to deal with a vendor you don't trust.
What's interesting to me is that all these sites return different results. So, it may be worth your time, rather than rooting clear through a lot of pages on one comparison site, to look at 1 or 2 pages on each of a few of these sites. You'll get a broader view of the market, and you'll drop the price you pay without shopping till you drop. People like to shop in malls, and if there's a mall online, Amazon is it.
I don't know about that metaphor. I mean, you're going to walk from store to store online with your little fingers? Are there teenagers loitering in the food court? And the parking? What's with the parking?
You're gonna be like that about it. The whole web's a mall. You know, every store online is about the same number of clicks or keystrokes away. So if for you, we will call Amazon an online department store.
That makes sense. I mean, Amazon started out as a bookstore, and now half the time you log on, they want to give you a spritz of perfume and a sampler of bronzer.
Oh, do they now?
Yeah, you should see them.
Okay, but why Amazon? Why anybody in particular? I mean, Net's got credit card protections now. You've got everything kind of equidistant. So what is the advantage at shopping at just 1 or 2 big online venues?
Well, the plus is familiarity. You know how it works, you trust them, they know where to ship the stuff, you don't have to set up a new account, and you don't have to come up with one more obscure password.
You see, that's the thing. I want obscurity, or at least variety. I want to be able to find stuff I'm not going to find just any old place.
Yeah, to prove it, you embarked on a fact-finding odyssey we're calling The Mall and the Many.
Here's the deal. I did a few semi-random e-commerce transactions. I was looking for price breaks, specials, breadth of selection, delivery, and that ineffable user experience thing.
Okay, once at Amazon, once off, right?
Well, yeah, I had a random list of stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's a random list, all right. Okay, let's see. Lush Karma soap, Mrs. Meyer, lavender, black razor phone with singular service, pair of Hush Puppy loafers, and a one-volume hardbound copy, 50th anniversary edition of Lord of the Rings. Lord of mercy. Amazon.
Okay, the soap was easy to find. The cleaning scrub was kind of buried in the results pages, but it was there, so okay. The phone was $150, but would have been free after a bunch of rebates they had on offer, and I got a $37 discount on the book. No shoes.
No Hush Puppy loafers?
Well, they weren't available, but I've seen them, so I knew they existed.
Okay, shipping.
Okay, I qualified for free shipping on the book alone, but only the soap and the book were likely to ship within a few days. The scrub would have been 3 to 5 weeks, and the phone, you know, credit checks, who knows how long that would have taken.
All right, and this took you all how long?
Okay, the trip took just over 8.5 minutes.
You can't do that at the mall.
No, and my feet felt so much better. So I tried it at the Mini. I went to the company site for the soap. That's lushusa.com. And the price was exactly what it had been on Amazon. Lush is one of those brands with a wildly loyal fan base, and the site has a discussion area.
Discussion area for soap? I mean, come on.
A discussion area that kind of encourages, like, okay, major expenditure. You know, you talk, and then pretty soon you want to try all this stuff, and you've got this whole bathroom full of lushitude and a bunch of online pals to discuss it with.
Gosh, shopping as social event.
Well, yeah, sometimes that's the point.
All right, Mrs. Meyer.
Okay, cleaning scrub. I found it on drugstore.com, which is a big site too, but for $3 more per canister. I mean, Amazon was charging $5 and drugstore was charging $8. Company site had it for the same price as Amazon, but for somebody in a small apartment, it's kind of hard to go to a cleaning supply site and hit the minimum order for a cheap delivery.
All right, the phone.
Okay, the phone. You know, a singular site, sorry guys, makes me nuts. So instead, I went to a really great informational site. We've talked about this one, phonescoop.com.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's a good one. I go there all the time for information. And you can support the site by clicking on a link from there to one of their dealership partners. They get a little commission basically for sending you over. Okay, so I end up clicking through to Wirefly, and they had the same phone for $249.
I mean, that's $100 more than Amazon.
Well, yeah, but again, with the rebates had, the phone would have been free.
Okay, yeah. Now the shoes.
I found the shoes. They were on the Hush Puppy site, and they were $60, which is pretty much in line with what I would expect to pay offline.
And finally, that book.
Okay, the book. I go to bookfinder.com, and Bookfinder is just spectacular. They check a ton of independent sellers' listings and come back with a range of editions at a range of prices, kind of like Frugal for books.
And the price.
Okay, I got back a range of listings between $60 with an instant discount at one site to $249 for a UK edition at another store.
$240, I mean, it's like, it's bound in hobbit skin. For that price, Frodo had better deliver it himself.
Don't talk to my book that way. You see, that's the problem. There are differences in actual books being offered, differences in condition and edition and so forth, obviously. This is a very different edition from some of them. And if you're not used to reading seller's descriptions on a specialized site like that, you might not understand what you're looking at. But I am, but the problem for me was the distraction factor, which murdered my time on the shopping test.
Uh-oh, I mean, remember, Amazon took you about 8 minutes, so this one.
I said I was distracted, and I think I'm actually still logged in over there.
So the mall versus the many verdict is?
All of the above.
Oh.
In the end, I got the soap from Lush, mainly because I started reading through opinions on the discussion forums, and I ended up dropping $90 on tons of pretty things that I will use, and they're really nice.
A whole lot of soap.
The cleaning powder, I ended up picking up here in town just at the store because it turned out I needed it right away. I didn't know I was running that low. The phone, I started reading the reviews on phonescoop.com and changed my mind, so no sale. The shoes I plan to get online, but only because I know how they're going to fit. It's Hush Puppy. I'm more than familiar with those shoes.
Okay, and the Hobbit-bound book.
Stop! Well, I went with Amazon, which, by the way, was ultra helpful when it arrived slightly damaged and I chose to do an exchange.
And I'm sure after all this, your credit card company is thrilled.
So are the Hobbits. Well, it's time to rummage through our tip jar where good ideas await savvy shoppers. And today it's that coupon and eye-out tip. Steve?
Oh, okay. Well, a lot of sites keep up a steady stream of special offers to draw business, either to catch new customers or reward the regulars.
If you'd like to get in on those deals, swing by Google before you go to your favorite e-commerce site. Type in coupon and the name of the site.
And see what comes up. If you're in luck, you'll get sites that'll give you a few certificate codes that you'll type in at checkout for a discount or free shipping or something like that.
Or in some cases, you'll end up on coupon-centric sites that'll link you to sales and other offers at the shopping emporia.
And the best news, no clipping required, though you can cut and paste the codes if you're so inclined.
Oh, tip jar, thanks for coupon us up on all the good stuff.
You know, I am old enough to remember, by cracky, the days when you walked in and people used these grabbers to yank stuff off the high shelves for you, or you could just call in and tell the grocer what you wanted and they'd bring it by an hour later. The invention of the grocery store was a clever way to shift the labor to the customers instead of the grocer. But now if you go to a modern grocery store, they've got so few checkers left to help you that you have to scan your doggone bananas yourself. And at my local store, you have to wait in line to do it while you listen to bad music selection and kids whining for their moms to give them candy. And then you discover the important stuff you picked out is past its pull date. So look, if I'm going to do the labor and use it, maybe it's time to cut through all that and shop on the web from my computer in the comfort of my own home.
No, we're not going to do that.
No?
Because after that little fit, we don't have time. Put another way. If you'd like to avoid standing online at the checkout counter behind a lunatic, you might appreciate the idea of buying your groceries online.
Well, almost every home in the US of A has access to at least one service, NetGrocer. They use FedEx to deliver the goods, which takes at least 3 days, and those delivery charges are just unbelievable. If you live west of the Mississippi, they add at least 25% and sometimes nearly 40% to your order.
If you're seeking fresh or frozen foods, your options narrow, often to just 1 or 2 services in a major metropolitan area near you.
Yeah, but most of those are services based on regional grocery chains. In fact, the delivery may come from the store right down the street. You know, that's going to be the baseline for your quality. What you see on the shelves is pretty much what you're going to get in the bag.
At least delivery charges are more reasonable with most of these store-based services. Most of them keep charges at around $10 or less, depending on the price of your order, though at least one regional service has an additional charge based on your total.
The bread is firm, it is undented, it actually looks...
Yeah, and some stores give you the option of ordering online and picking up the groceries yourself at the store. I mean, there's a charge then as well, but generally it's lower.
Well, and you've got Fresh Direct, which is a true independent. That's an example of a really localized service, in this case, the New York metro area. They know their market, they serve their market.
Yeah, and Fresh Direct has some seriously rabid fans. The prices are pretty competitive, it looks like. Haven't tried them. They're not partnered to any drugstore sites, though, so for some people, that's a minor issue.
Oh, yeah, but in the city, drugstores deliver, too.
Yeah.
And the few people I've talked to that have had problems with Fresh Direct, the service has really worked to make things right. They have nice produce, they have a good site, which is important because that's all you ever see of Fresh Direct. The produce is kept in a special warehouse. All the products are, and civilians are not invited to stroll the aisles and squeeze the tomatoes.
Darn, I like squeezing the tomatoes. Well, most of these services have a strength that you can go back to repeat an order or check to see what you bought before, so it cuts down on time.
Oh, yeah, and you know, I noticed it cuts down on impulse buying. Important for me.
Okay, yeah, I heard about that. And some sites let you specify how you want them to handle substitutions. You can tell them to substitute the same brand in a different size, substitute store brand products, or just substitute anything at all that they happen to have around.
I just don't want any substitutions ever. If these sites haven't got what I want, I don't want what they've got. And as this week's episode pulls into the home stretch, the PR piñata plummets to its preferred post.
The piñata is where we stash the schlock that company shills send us before we gift the gear to a great letter writer. And this week, that's Granny Elaine.
Granny Elaine, 80, has a question that has perplexed computer users a third her age.
Question, is there a way to transfer my many albums of good music onto discs? I just want to listen to my music without the hassle of changing records on my phonograph constantly.
The good news, yes, there is, and thank heaven, because a lot of music from decades and centuries past has found new life in CD or MP3 form. The bad news is You're going to need some cables, some software, a pair of headphones, and a lot of patience.
You find the headphone jack, the big round one on your stereo, and the line-in port, the one that looks like a little headphone jack on your computer's sound card. Now, you then connect those with...
Yeah, you know what? This needs software. It gets complicated.
True.
There are services that will do this for you.
True.
If you're local to a college or university, get in touch with their music department and see how they converted their collection. They can probably recommend someone.
And then you'll be happy with the sound of your music rather than the sound of your footsteps going back and forth to the record player.
Okay, what are we sending her?
For Granny Elaine, another classic updated, sort of. For the digital age, a pocket watch, a digital one.
For a great question, and because your favorite music should be timeless.
So, what do we think of this week's stuff? You think we've convinced any stragglers to start shopping online?
Well, sure, those who aren't off waxing nostalgic about when they were a kid and had to walk both ways uphill to the supermarket.
You impertinent whippersnapper.
Oh, These days, the retail world assumes that desirable customers know how to use technology and the net both to get the deals and to do the legwork. Sorry, get on the bus or let it run over you Luddites. But a save for shoppers who make the effort to go beyond the big-name sites.
Look, I've shopped everywhere online, from Germany to get Haydn operas, to Scotland for an obscure folk CD, to some site in Indiana that had the best deal on the jeans I wear. So Luddites, c'est pas moi. And I've shopped Amazon for all sorts of stuff, J&R, another big one for electronics. I mean, sometimes the online big boxes give you the best deals. Sometimes you're better off with that little old option in the Hoosier states. Save them both.
Well, exactly. So that takes care of everything not produce related. You know, online groceries?
Look, the only thing I've even contemplated doing when it comes to groceries online is placing an order on my raspberry vendor's new website so I can avoid the long lines at the farmer's market. But I can't imagine a day when I'm going to be going online for all my groceries. Delete, except I think for people who just can't go out to do their shopping.
You know, for now, still, delete on the category, except one. Although Fresh Direct, baby, either you gotta expand to Seattle or I'm moving home to the delivery area. Save. I'm Angela Gunn.
I'm Steve Manis.
We're two analog people
In a digital world. See you next time. And I'm...
Looking for a new projector or TV for that big screen experience? Make sure it has DLP technology from Texas Instruments for a sharp picture that won't fade over time. Ask for DLP technology at electronics retailers near you.
Hey, Fred, we need...
Oh, don't tell me. We need a whole new storage solution, need more capacity, better security. Ken wants recommendations on his desk ASAP.
How'd you do that?
I got the same email you did. I already called CDW. I took care of it.
When you need technology, CDW responds with fast answers to your technology questions. You get what you need when you need it. CDW, the right technology right away.
Fred, don't tell me.
PC World's Digital Duo is sponsored in part by BenQ, bringing you digital projectors, televisions, LCD monitors, MP3 players, and other digital products that make life more enjoyable. BenQ, because enjoyment matters.
On the premiere of RX for Survival, modern vaccines can wipe out deadly disease, but only if they get to everybody.
This is a war. This is the ammunition for the war.
And antibiotics have saved millions. But what happens when germs become resistant?
Times are changing. Bacteria is getting smarter and smarter.
Don't miss the premiere of RX for Survival, November 1st, only on PBS.
We're gonna go in, they're gonna check my backpack, I'm gonna walk through a metal detector.
Let's go. We just have really good programs at my school, really good academics.
Education is kind of like the last thing on the mind. It's like something bad is gonna happen to me today, you know. This is everything that you could want in a high school.
No one really cares.
How are they going to survive?
It's not that it's a bad school, but you can see that it might turn into one.
A Voter's Voice presentation coming November 2nd.